Hello, and this is the video for the Unit 21 virtualization practical. Now, Unit 21 is probably one of the harder practicals. It's not necessarily complicated, it's just a little bit pernicious and it takes a long time to get through it. It was a bit of trial and error when I did the practical last time. If you find a better way of doing it, by all means. But this is the way that I found to do it that is the best and meets all the criteria for BTEC as we sit. Now, the way I have done it is I've used a piece of software called VMware Workstation Pro 15, which has a license key and is fully installed on the servers and the desktops. The key things to remember about this version of VMware Workstation is that the two systems, not just the server, but the two other systems, need to be on Windows 10. It will not work on Windows 7 for some reason. It crashes and it doesn't function correctly. I think it's to do with it being the Pro 15. It won't work properly. Again, this doesn't need the student to be able to build a network or show the network's built. It's more about their manipulation of the system to make a virtualized system for a games testing company. Now, the students will learn from assignment 1 that basically games testing on a virtualized environment is not a good idea. However, the reason why the assignment has been done like that is so they can see the drawbacks. They can see the issues of trying to do games testing on a virtualized environment. Now again, our equipment is a bit old on the switching side and bits and pieces, so that basically is going to show a really good image of you're going to have to spend a lot of money to get this virtualization to work. It's not quick, it's not simple, it takes an awful lot of time to get going. Now, again, there's a checklist for this unit and there will be optimizations as well. So I'm going to go through the checklist bit by bit and show you all the step-by-steps of the configuration stuff you need to set up. Now, on the server, the VM Workstation Pro 15 will already be installed. Now, there is one server it does not work on. I will identify that to the person delivering the unit. The other two units, VM Workstation works perfect. You can run the games, bits and pieces, everything works wonderfully. But one of them, it just doesn't. I don't know why. I think it's something to do with the BIOS just not being up to date correctly, but I didn't want to fiddle with it. The two base units can be any of the base units that are already got available, like we've used for the other units. However, like I said, they have to be on Windows 10. So I've given you installation disks with serial keys. You just need to set two systems up or whatever, how many practicals you want to do to get them to work. Now, the students quickly just have to take a picture of the system to make sure it's all connected as it should be, as we did in Unit 7, and we had to build it in Unit 19. So you just get to take pictures of the switches to show that all the machines are set up. You take a picture of the server and you show that the server's all connected together with the switch and bits and pieces like that. So nothing too major. You just got to show a couple of pictures of the system has been set up. Now, the first thing that's on the checklist is you've got to install Workstation Pro 15 on all the desktops. Now, for this video, I'm just going to show you how to do it on one of them, but you will do it twice. The students have to do it twice to show that they've installed it on two systems. So we'll move over to one of the desktops with the camera, like so, and we will put the memory stick in, and we'll install Workstation now. So if we go into the memory stick, VMware Workstation, and it's the full 15. So the students will install this. It will ask for administrator logins probably, because we are still on the network. We are still domained together. So you need this to be able to share the VM later, because we're going to share it with the desktops. So it is important that you keep them all on the lab.net. They can't be independent. They all have to be together. But hopefully this will start in a second and we'll get one of the machines up and running with the Workstation Pro. You will notice there's also a key in there. You need to put the serial key in, otherwise it will only last 30 days. So Again, like always, it's the PA55W0RD password, as always. Now it'll come up with the CPU is unsupported. Just ignore it. Just continue. It will not affect what you're trying to do, so you just ignore. Students, again, as always, will be taking pictures step by step of this installation. So they must take pictures of everything that's going on, as we always have done before. As I said, this unit isn't difficult, the practical, it's just time consuming. You've got to sit and watch installations, and the kids have got to take pictures of installations. It just takes a lot of time. I would strongly suggest you have 2 practicals going at once, so you can get like 8 to 10 students done at a time, because it will take an hour or 2 to get this done. I'm only going to do it on one system, on one image. You've got to do it twice, so you'll need a bit more time to get it completed. As I said, it is a little bit slow, so you just got to bear with it. Here we go. Right, so again, students will take pictures of step by step of the installation. There's nothing out of the ordinary in installation. Most of it's just next, next, next. That's the antivirus kicking in. That was the antivirus. Let me disable the antivirus. So if you have antivirus installed, it may be a good time to disable it. And we shall try again. I'll stop this bit and I'll get back to the installation. Right, so I got it back. It was because the antivirus was blocking it, so I've disabled it. So if we go next, you accept the terms and conditions, of course. You don't want to do the enhanced keyboard driver. It's not necessary, and don't change the location. You don't want to do either of those, otherwise it will slow the system down. And you want the desktop icons and bits to be placed. Go next. We then go install, and it will then install VM Workstation Pro. As I said before, you will do this on the other workstation as well. So you've got 2 systems with VMware Workstation Pro. If it's already installed on the systems before the practical, make sure you take it off. This practical does need a lot of prep. You need to make sure that everything's back down to default, etc, etc, like every practical really, that you're not got stuff already on there, because the kids have to show what they've done and how they've done it. Now this form of virtualization is full virtualization. The kids will know this from the theory assignment 1, so a lot of their evaluation will be based on the positives and negatives of using this type of full virtualization, desktop full virtualization. So they'll have a lot to talk about, hopefully, as they did this year. Wait for that to install. just so you know that these systems are logged on as test users. In every server there in the Active Directory there's a couple of test users, test and test 1 or test 2. They have the same login, username and password as normal, so just test and then test 2 as the usernames, and then you log in with the capital P A5500RD specific for this unit, because you don't need to have special users set up. Right, so you want to put the license in, so you always have to click license. Now in the folder there is, whoops, wrong document, don't want that one, you want the one that says key, and then you copy that key out, whoops, and paste it in there, to Control V that one, it won't paste, and you go enter, and it says you've completed installation, so you go finish. So that's VM Workstation, so we can open it now. So VM Workstation will be installed on this system. Now what we're going to do next is we are going to build one virtual image on the server that we are going to share with the workstation we've just installed Workstation Pro on. So if you move over to the server, I think that's clear on there. So we'll put memory stick in. So we can close that memory stick, so we don't need it open. So to make a virtual image, there is an option on the screen called Create a New Virtual Machine. So there's an option there as default. So you click on there and it will open up like a wizard system. Always use typical recommended, don't you check anything else. Go next. Now you need to find the image. Now I would strongly recommend you do it from an ISO. It's a lot quicker. You don't have to sit there waiting for the disk to boot up, and it just takes a lot less time for the install. So you find it on the memory stick, you go open, you go next. Now it will ask for a license key. Now I will give you all these license keys, but you'll see it on the video anyway. So just type that in. So it's 2K BKH 8N 2C7 8X YVK T9 C43 and then G83 GC. Leave it as administrator, don't change any of those options, just leave it all the same. Go next. Now I've already made a Windows 10 System 1, so I'll call it Windows 10 System 2, like that. Leave that all where it's going to go. Now I would up this to 100 gig just so you've got enough space. Servers normally, like I said, have a terabyte of storage, so it's fine. Store the virtual image as a single file. Do not split it. It makes it really complicated. So store it as a single file. Go next. Leave all this for now. We don't need to adjust any of it. And go finish. Now what it will do, it will start a Windows installation. So it will build a virtual image, which is a 100 gig like file, and then it will do the Windows 10 installation. So we'll just watch through, and it does something called an easy install, which is extremely quick. It's not like the normal Windows 10 installation that takes hours and hours and hours. It's extremely fast, so we won't have to wait too long. Now again, you would have to make 2 images, like I've got 2 images now, but for this video I'm just going to do the one for now. Let's go to the boot manager. I shouldn't be doing this. What I'll do, I'll shut this image down just for now. So if we shut it down, try powering it back up again. Oh, there we go. Got a bit stuck. So if it does that, it misses the installation. Just shut the system image down by right and clicking on the tab, and then just reboot it back up again, like I just did on the screen. It's quite a complicated piece of software making system images, so it can be a little bit flaky at times. This may take a while. So he wants to ask what operator to install, so we're going to install Pro. We go next. And it'll start doing the installation. There we go. So it's like watching a Windows 10 installation. You're just going to have to bear with it. Once we've built this image, we are going to share this image with the system we've installed Pro onto already. So we're just going to have to wait for that. After this, it's a lot of installations and playing, basically. These are the longest pieces that we need to get done. So we're getting near the end now. It's definitely a lot quicker from an ISO, so it'll take even longer if you put a disk in. So definitely give to students memory sticks with the software on. Just makes the whole process a lot quicker. So it's now just going to do the last bits of installation, and it will reboot and go to the Windows 10 Pro screen. Once we've done that, we're going to then share that with another system to make sure it's shared, and then we're going to start installing all of the antivirus, Glasswire, Wireshark, Halo and Space Invaders. So we do the games testing. Last few bits and then it'll be onto the desktop. Here we go. So what the students will start noticing is that it's just like installing Windows as normal. Slow, boring, but also it is a independent system running on another system using resources taken from the host system. So it will install something called VMware Tools, which is so the operating system that we just installed can have like the shortcuts like Control Alt to get out and bits and pieces like that. Otherwise, the system won't understand. So it will quickly install these, and then we'll share this image, and then get the installations done. Let me just quickly restart. So, before we do anything else, what we're going to do is we're going to copy all the installation files. So before we share it, we're going to copy everything over from the memory stick that we need to install on these virtual machines. Now it says on the checklist to install on all desktops and virtual machines. They've got to do it once and just state that they've done it multiple times. Don't sit there and install it 4 times, it just takes too long. So to add the memory stick, there's an icon on the bottom corner, which is down here next to the blue post-it. Once you click it, you disconnect from host. So the server is host, so you're going to connect to it. You go OK, and then go OK. And now you can see in the virtual machine, it's now attached. So I can now manipulate it inside here. So I need to copy the Halo file over. I need to install Halo in a bit. The reason I copy them off the memory stick is because sometimes it crashes from the memory. If you try to install it from the memory stick, it's got to go through 2 machines and it can sometimes crash. So copying it onto the virtual machine means you take away the crashing problem. They're going to copy Invaders, which is Space Invaders. So we'll copy that off and put it in here. These are for our testing. We then need the antivirus, Glasswire, and Wireshark. So if we copy those, put them on the desktop. Right, okay. So that's everything copied over. So now I can disconnect the memory stick. So then it's not going to crash the virtual machine. Now what we need to do with the virtual machine is we need to share it. So even if it's running, you can right hand click on the image, go manage, and then share. It does tell you got to power it off. So if we shut it down, like you would do a normal Windows machine, you shut it down. So that's shut down now. So now I can right hand click, manage, share. So now I go for a sharing wizard because I want to share it with the other systems. So I go next. I'm going to call it, keep it Windows 10 System 2. That's fine. I want to move the virtual machine. I don't want to make a clone. I want to move it to a shared partition. So I go finish. So what it does, at the moment it was up here, but then it knocks it down to shared. So if I go close, it's now in a shared location. So what I can do now is if I move over to our one that we did earlier, so the one where we set it up, I want to connect to a remote server, which is this option here. So I click remote server. Now server name, I need to just put the IP address in, so 192.168.1.1. the username will be administrator, and the password will be capital PA55W0RD. Connect. Now what should happen, fingers crossed, is that it should then connect to that server and share with me all the shared VMs so that I can use them on this system. So I can run them off the server, but I can view them a bit like a remote desktop onto this system. So, administrator. Now, what might happen, it might want to be called the server's name. That does happen sometimes. So, if we just double check what the server is called. It's got a bit of a horrible name. So it's Win-9L 8MT 389 ROU. Let's try that. No, so hang on a sec. So it might be because it's not sharing properly. Right, my network discovery is off, so I need to turn that on. That might be why. So these are the same things that the kids may come up with. So seeing them happen now is quite a good thing, so that we can hopefully can't see the server, which isn't helpful. Right, let me stop this and then I'll see if I can find what the problem is. Right, to find out what the problem was, I think the IP address was wrong on the server. I have no idea why it was something that it should have been. So, fingers crossed this will now work. There we go. Yeah, so the IP address of the server was incorrect. They were talking to each other, but it wasn't coming up as the default gateway. So now, fingers crossed, now the connecting stopped, it means it's found it. So here we go. So the server you're connected to represents security doesn't have a security certificate, so we want to connect anyway. Always trust the host. You can always tick that and continue anyway. We'll continue to connect. Put the incorrect password in. I forgot an I in administrator. That was my fault. There we go. So do you want to remember? So we can say remember. So it can see that I have one shared image that I can run. So now if I click on the shared image from the server and I go run it, so you just want to say no, you don't want to check it every time. So now this system is running the virtual image that is on this system. So in a minute this system will pick up the screen with the desktop and I'll be able to start doing all the installations and bits and pieces from the shared system, not the main server. So you see on the main server that it's actually running on here, but then the image comes up over here. So just like a remote desktop, completely exactly the same as a remote desktop system. So with the installation, there is a particular order you need to install things in. So you need to install Glasswire and Wireshark first, then antivirus. So what we'll do first, we'll do Wireshark first. Now this is all part of the criteria in the assignment. I want you to do all like the performance management of the system. So as you can see, I'm just going next. I'm not changing any of it. So I'm just going next for all of it. And install it. Now this is so you can manage packets going across the network between the server and this desktop. You would also do well to install these both on the server as well, so that you can manage the traffic backwards and forwards. Now the server may already have them both installed, because most of them do. But I would definitely install Glasswire and Wireshark onto the server so you can keep it open while you're doing the Halo testing and stuff to get some good graphs. It's on this server at the moment, so when we get to the end I'll show you the graphs that it produces. So that's completed. I don't want to run it, so I just go finish. So that's Wireshark done. We now want to install Glasswire. So we run through this, accept, next, install, let it install. Yeah, so like I said, it's important to have at least Glasswire on the server so you can get some traffic analysis to see how much load's going on the network and bits and pieces like that while you're running these virtual images. Because don't forget, you'll have two virtual images running at the same time, so it's important that you get it installed. There we go. So you can see a graph is being produced at the moment, even on this system, because we just started it. So if I leave that in the bottom corner, it will show you all the network traffic. So that's that bit. And the last one is the antivirus. We always do the antivirus first because because the Wireshark and Glasswire make a vast think there are viruses, so installing it last is the best. So always do the old version. Install. And as you can see, just to confirm, you've got the installation there, but we've got a image on the server as well, which is the shared version of it. So once we've installed the antivirus, we're going to install Halo. So get Halo installed. And then all the students need to do is play a game of Halo and play Space Invaders, so they can discuss how it's working on the system. Now, it's not necessarily for pass, but it will really help them for the distinction if they discuss it in the picture and they talk about it then, why it was issues and bits and pieces there. So, that's the VAST installed. So already you can see glass wires kicking up activity in bits and pieces. So next thing we're going to do is install Halo. So we do express install. Now we need a license key, so there is a file in here called license key for Halo. Now you can't copy it, so the student's going to have to write it in. So if I just write this in now, so WYYTU UZWR SUVS7 HVD JS L next. So we'll install, go next, and it will now install Halo. There we go. Now if you've got multiple students, you can be doing this on all the machines at once, because you can copy the files onto the virtual machines and have it all installed in at once. As long as someone just takes pictures of the installs once, that's more than enough. But you're going to have to do it a number of times so you can get enough data, you can test enough, etc. So we'll play Halo now. So you click on play. The students will take pictures of all of this. Everything we've done, need to take a picture of. Right. Let's power that back on. Now, it crashed because we're trying to run it for a share. Now, this is the first time that the students will start noticing that doing this, trying to run games from it, is not a good idea. So it'll all be good evidence for the students to start saying, well, hang on, this doesn't work very well. So we'll try again and see if it will run. If not, we'll run it off the server and we'll see it running on the server. This is all good evidence for the students to talk about. Well, it's not very stable, it's not very good, it's not going to meet the needs of the customer because of this, this and this, etc, etc. So try running Halo again. We go accept. So it's running this time by the looks of it. Just going to give it a go. Now once Halo starts, you can click on multiplayer, just go enter. You want to create a LAN. We're not actually going to LAN, you just want some gameplay. Next, start. And what the kids will notice is it is horribly laggy. That's the whole point. So it's really laggy, slow, not really good to play. So that's Halo. So they tested that, they can discuss the issues with it. Then next is next is the Space Invaders, which is a folder called Invaders. We just need to run the file. Now this runs a bit like a game maker file, so it shouldn't be an issue. Just go install this feature, and it should just run like a game maker file. Now what the student should notice is that it should run a lot smoother. Or not at all. I can fire, but I can't move. Oh, there we go, so it's the arrow keys. So they should notice that because it's only a 2D game, I just got shot. Because it's a 2D game, it should work a lot quicker. Okay, so we can exit that. So always escape to get out of those. So that's everything installed. Now there is an extra bit on the checklist that basically says confirm connection between desktops and servers. Well, we wouldn't be able to share like we are sharing now if they aren't connected. Now they can do a ping, they can do anything just to confirm that the two machines can see each other. That's all they need to do. Okay, so that's the pass criteria all completed for the Unit 21. They've made a virtualized environment. What we'll do now, I'll stop this video and we'll go on to the improvements and optimizations.